But then you watch a game like tonight and LeBron kicked his ass. He's not ready to be a top 15 guy, but he really, really, really gives a shit about every game. It's great. I love it. This is a long, sustained offensive excellence that when you watch it feels legitimate. We're not going to be nice. What do we care? We're just these, let's call it what it is. All right, it is 8:43 p.m. Sunday night. Just watched Texans Lions. I'm here with the 47th President of the United States, Cousin Sal. How are you?
There's no way I won. I know who my family voted for, and it wasn't me. It never is.
We just watched an incredible game, and I thought Collinsworth made the key point, and he sniffed it out in the third quarter and said, he did the, Al, I'm just telling you, if the Lions could figure this out, this is the kind of game that tells you what kind of, he just did that whole thing, and he was right, because I was thinking the same thing. If all the shit that happened, Goff throws 5 picks basically in the first 2.5 quarters of the game. And if you can come back on the road and win that game, I think that means something more than the game, right? That was the takeaway.
Oh, I thought the point he made that was valid was if there was just one more coat of paint on those goalposts, we're going to overtime, Mike. You know that's true. Come on.
One more, Mike.
No, they ran against them, right? I mean, they have the fastest runners in the. What's interesting is it seemed like, and I think it was those red uniforms. Didn't they seem faster, the Texans? Like, there's a little bit of like a flash thing, like, oh wow, they're wearing the red uniforms, they're faster than us tonight, let's give up. But you're right, if they had just gone to the running game for most of the game, it wouldn't have been close at the end.
It was very similar to what was happening to them early in the season. Like they had that one game where Goff threw the ball like almost 60 times, and some people were out on the Detroit offense. I remember us talking about it. I was like, I still feel like they just have to remember what kind of team they are. And then this game, it was the same thing. They're chucking the ball around. Goff didn't have it. And I just kept, the running game wasn't great in the first 2.5 quarters, but it's like, just, they don't have Will Anderson. Just run the ball, stick with it, play action. And they were able to turn around. But the bigger thing is Houston didn't score again in the second half. There's a bunch of bad advanced metrics with them in the second halves of these games. Nico Collins got scratched pretty late. It seemed like he was playing. It was scratched late enough that I think a lot of people like me in one of my leagues started him in fantasy, and then all of a sudden he was gone. But they got to fix that. I still like that Houston team, though.
Here's the thing. No, first of all, yes, I say the Lions could have won and not put it away, but they could have been in this much earlier than just the final kick to take the lead. But man, if Stroud hits Dell, I mean, he's open for 17 seconds and he lofts it and it's intercepted by Carlton Davis. So that sucked. But yeah, I like this team too. And guess what? They could rest Stroud for a month. He could go whatever. He can go to France if he wants, because he's up against Will Levis, Mac Jones, and Joe Flacco or Anthony Richardson. So yeah, I like that. Do I like him as a 1 seed? No, but they'll be fine in the playoffs, I think.
Yeah, even you look at their losses, Minnesota killed them. Green Bay beat them by 2, and that was an either-or game. Jets beat them on a Thursday night, which was another one that it felt like they were going to win the game. Garrett Wilson made that crazy catch. Right. And then in this game, they were in it, and it felt a little self-inflicted to me. I know they didn't have Nico Collins, but the Stroud pass, it was just like he sailed it up there like there was nobody within 30 yards of Dell. And meanwhile, the safety comes flying over. But even if he had sailed it toward the corner of the end zone, when that happened, I was like, holy shit, the Lions might have a chance. Because
nephew Kyle, 6 Pilsners in, could have made that throw. I'm telling you right now, I don't know what happened there. And I think the game plan should be, hey, if we get 30, we win. Right. If you're D'Amico Ryans, but they hadn't figured out how to get those extra 7.
Yeah, I like Stroud, but he kind of needs one of these games. He needs one of these tight games against a really good team, make a couple plays moments. I was looking up some of the stuff from this game. And first of all, has anyone ever thrown 5 interceptions in a game and then won the Super Bowl? What do you think the answer is to that? Because I actually researched this.
Oh, wow. Good for you.
Same season. Yeah, I figured out a way to research this, and I think I nailed it correctly.
Well, it wasn't Tony Romo, who was one of two guys who threw 5
No, it
interceptions and,
wasn't. Yeah,
and
because he
won the
never won the Super
game.
Bowl. Yeah.
Was it 1970 Colts or something?
No,
No.
so the two I found, and maybe there are more than this, but Terry Bradshaw did it in the 79 Steelers.
Mm-hmm.
And then Jim Plunkett in 1980 Raiders.
Wow.
So back-to-back years. In general, I was looking up, I went on this interception deep dive because when we were growing up, quarterbacks threw interceptions. Like Steve Grogan had 3 5 interception games before I turned 10 years old. You know, and I was looking at like the 77 season. Fran Tarkenton led the league with 32 picks. 1978. Stabler was second with 30. And 8 other guys had at least 20. This is just what we grew up with. The ball would sail around. Like
it's bizarre because they definitely didn't pass as much, right?
No,
they weren't dropping back as much.
But think about it, like receivers going over the middle, you could decapitate them. Quarterbacks,
right.
you could dive at their legs, you could close on them. So they're just flinging the ball up, trying to get rid of it. Joe Pisarcik was 12 TDs, 23 picks. Kenny Anderson was 10 TDs, 22 picks. Steve DeBerg was 8 TDs, 22 picks, on and on and on. To throw 5 picks now, you really have to put some thought and time and some shitty energy into it. So there was like, how many picks? The record's 7. Like Ty Detmer did it, only like 2 other. So, you know, there was a moment there where it was like, whoa, what happens if he gets to 6?
It's going to get there.
Do they pull him?
Yeah.
But he righted the ship. Like he kind of persevered through it.
Yeah, he had plenty of opportunities, and he had more than he had all of last year, right? So I'm not sure that takes him a little bit out of the MVP running, but we were making fun of PFF because they had him 22 out of 32 for quarterbacks. Like this guy never throws an incomplete pass. Who are the 21 ahead of him? And then it's like, oh boy, interception after interception. Maybe they were going to save that for next week's. So but good comeback for the Lions. They may just have that swagger. It just might be their year, at least in the NFC.
Well, in the AFC, Houston drops to 6-4, but you know, they're going to be the 4th seed.
Yeah.
I don't see any scenario where Indianapolis or Jacksonville or Tennessee even sniffs them. So they have time to figure it out. And I didn't change my opinion on where I thought Houston might be when they get Collins back and they get Will Anderson back. Like, I want to see this team in mid-December with like 2-3 weeks left in this season, like right around Christmas. Let's really take a look at them because I think they could hang with KC, Buffalo, Pittsburgh, Baltimore. I think they could play with any of those teams. You know?
Yeah, I agree.
We'll see.
I just would, let's not do what we did last year. Like we fall in love with the 6 seed or whoever it was. Was it Cleveland last year? Did you have the Houston over Cleveland? Did you have them?
Because I had a pretty good playoffs last year. And that was one of my huge regrets. Flacco against whoever when he got annihilated.
Well, we won't have to worry about Flacco, but let's try to
we won't have to worry about Flacco. There's the AFC playoff stuff. We talked about how Houston's probably the 4 seed, which is gonna, I think, put them against Pittsburgh or Baltimore. Whoever doesn't win that division, the way it's lining up now, where Pittsburgh's 7-2 and Baltimore 7-3 and a good team. And probably the 5 seed, unless the Chargers just keep kicking everyone's ass. Chargers are 6-3. So we basically, if KC beats Buffalo next week, they basically have the 1 seed locked up.
Right.
Because they'll have a 2-game lead over, or 3-game lead over Buffalo, plus they beat them. They'll have a 2-game lead over Pittsburgh and then a 3-game lead over Baltimore. If you do the rankings now or the matchups now, it'd be Buffalo 2 against 7 seed Denver.
They would get in.
Which they're 5-5. No, there's 7 teams that have a tie or winning record. Number 3 Pittsburgh against number 6 Chargers. And then number 4 Houston, Baltimore. But the AFC is kind of fun. I was looking at it, I was like, the big
it is, but I think you bring up a good point with the Chiefs, though. If they beat Buffalo in Buffalo next week, a lot of these teams, I mean, how do you get up Houston for the last 7 weeks with knowing like we got this? 8 and 9 could get us the 4 seed. I really feel like 8 and 9 wins that division at this point.
Well, I think you could think maybe we could catch the AFC North team and get the 3 seed. Maybe Buffalo. I mean, Buffalo, this is another crazy thing that's happened through 10 weeks. Buffalo has a 5-game lead in the AFC East.
Yeah.
I mean, that's like absurd. I've never seen somebody lead by half as many games as the actual games played.
Your team might have done it a couple of times, right? By
You think?
November, by the middle of November, you don't think the
Yeah.
Patriots had like a 5-game lead?
Well, you mentioned Kansas City. I don't know what to make of this season anymore. They're 9-0. 5 of the wins was week 1, the Ravens game where likely his foot's on the line.
Mm-hmm.
They beat the Bengals. Burrow had the fumble TD. The Bengals had a chance to ice the game, didn't get a first down, punted. Chiefs hit a field goal at the end. To have the Atlanta game where they got the 4th down stop when it seemed like Atlanta was going to drive and get them, and they got to stop. Last week, the Bucks and OT felt like if the Bucks went for 2, they were probably going to win.
Yeah.
And then this week, where it seems like it's done,
Yeah.
and they blocked the field goal, and they beat the Broncos by 2 in a game that was dead even statistically when you're watching it. It felt like the Broncos were going to win. I thought the Broncos slightly outplayed them, and now they're 9-0. And I don't feel like everybody's like, oh yeah, Chiefs, look out. I think people are like, holy shit, how can they keep doing this?
I think you're right. And it's one thing to do it like the Vikings did it. Like, oh, what did they have in 2022? They had like 11 one-score wins or something.
Yeah.
But when you went through the one after the other, toe in the end zone, barely, like this is just a spectacular way to be undefeated in the second week in November. I mean, that kick, like if there were no blockers, it would have looked exactly the same. What the hell? What Denver did everything right. You're right. They bled the clock. They had the Chiefs use their timeouts. And you almost think there's just no beating this team.
I was driving home from the airport last night, like about midnight, and I was listening to Fox Sports Radio, and there was some show, and they had that guy Fezzik, the handicapper, was on.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is great. I'm going like 95 miles an hour on the 10, and I'm listening to Fezzik break down the schedule. And he was really bullish on the Broncos in this game. It's like Broncos coming off a loss. They beat the Chiefs. And I felt the same way. Like I doubled on the Broncos in our picks league. The Broncos last week against Baltimore, when it was 17-10 heading toward the end of the first half, and they had really played with them, and Knicks had missed a couple touchdown throws. And then all of a sudden Lamar got the touchdown. They're down 14 and the game blew open. But I didn't think they were bad in that game. In this game, they were pretty good too. They might actually be a playoff team. Like I think the Bengals are going to have a hard time passing them because I think the Broncos are going to be able to get to 9 wins.
Well, that's it, right? It's Bengals. Bengals have some interesting games. They have the Chargers this week. So I don't want to call it a loser leaves town for the Bengals, but they can't afford to lose like 2. They still have a lot of their North games. Right.
Yeah, they're not
so that's a big one. But yeah, man, I would even say I had Bo Nix as a solid 4th in terms of the 4 rookie quarterbacks. Is he second now? Is he right behind Daniels?
I have a whole spot in the podcast for this.
Oh my God.
I can't wait to
in
talk
this
about
one.
this.
All right.
Okay. Oh yeah, in this podcast. Denver, rest of the way. Home Atlanta, at Vegas, home Cleveland on a Monday night, home Indianapolis, at Chargers, and then week 17 at Cincinnati.
Yeah, that's a big one.
And then here's the big one. And this is one of the reasons when we did the over-unders. One of the reasons I like the Denver over, they play Kansas City week 18 at home. And that is that's one of those games where we guess the lines and be stupid.
Right.
Like Denver favored by 7.5 or something because Kansas City won't play anybody. So is Denver going to get to 9 wins? Probably. They're 5-5 right now, and I think there's 4 more in there. So the Bengals are going to have to beat them, and they're going to have to beat the Chargers, I think, this week.
They're having trouble getting to 6. If they get to 6, they go over their projected win total, which was 5.5, but they've been stuck on 5 for a while. But yeah, the problem is as you go through those games, and I think about those teams, they're not guaranteed to score 30, right? I don't know if anyone is in the NFL anymore, but Denver, it's always going to be a kind of game like this. But what they did today is big plays against the Chiefs don't usually happen. Yeah. And they pulled it off. I know you want to talk about Knicks later, but they had some nice, like 20+ yard gainers. So
I thought that was the best Knicks has looked. And even though I know they didn't put up like 30 points or anything, but he had some good plays. He had typical couple overthrows, but I know you're invested in him because he's an Oregon guy. And
that's right.
An Oregon
he's a Duck.
But one thing on the Chiefs. So I was trying to think because I mentioned this to House on Thursday. And I was like, I'm going to go back and actually look at this. The teams that start off undefeated for a while and all of us are kind of looking at them kind of side-eyed, like, I don't know. So the three that really jumped out, 2010 Colts were 14-0. And remember, that was the whole argument of should they go for it? And I think they ended up resting guys, but they lost the Super Bowl to New Orleans that year. But that whole year, we were kind of like, what is this? Like, is this a schedule thing? Like, what's going on? Their defense isn't that good. So they didn't win the Super Bowl. The next year, the Packers went 13-0, go to the playoffs, get a bye, and then they get killed by the Giants at home in round 2 in the second Eli Super Bowl season. And then the third one was the Panthers in 2015, 14-0 start, and then they end up losing the Super Bowl to Denver. So I guess my question is Kansas City just better losing now and getting this over with than versus like just going? I know it sounds stupid, but them going 14 and then you're basically not playing for anything for a month, and you get a bye week, and then you just kind of have to flip the switch on. We have real evidence that that's kind of a bad thing for a team.
Yeah, and listen, I think we got to give them the benefit of the doubt in terms of how to approach this. Like Andy Reid, this isn't his first rodeo. By the way, his first rodeo, he killed a cat. Like he just like it was too much weight, and they knew it was a bad idea from the start.
First rodeo, all tapes have been destroyed.
Right, but so work Hopkins in, right? Don't get injured. Pacheco comes back theoretically in a couple weeks. I think that would probably be the plan. And if you could beat up on these teams, keep it going, I guess. I think I know what you're saying. Like it's good to have a loss in there, and then you could deal with it. But I feel like they've been down. They've made comebacks before, right? So they know how to be resilient.
Well, this Buffalo game, it's at Buffalo. I can't wait to guess the line for that. And I don't know it. And I would have guessed Buffalo as a favorite, but now I'm wondering with the way Buffalo looked a little shaky, maybe it's going to flip. But Casey, I think, would want to go into Buffalo and beat them again and just keep that over them. Like kind of, you can't beat us. We're on this. But then they're at Carolina the next week. And that just like the classic Chiefs favored by 9.5 in Carolina. Punt block, tipped interception, pick 6, like just 9 things go wrong. Everyone gets killed in their tees. It's like the biggest upset of the year. I have that one flagged. They play Vegas at home on a Friday night. That seems fishy. Chargers on a Sunday. They're at Cleveland, home Houston, at Pittsburgh, and then home for Denver in week 18. So maybe they have that stretch where it's week 16, Houston on a Saturday, week 17, Christmas night, Pittsburgh. And they're going to have everything clinched. And there's just no way they're going to be playing their guys in both of those games, right? That's no way. They're going to punt on one of those games.
Do you know what the odds are? I have them here. Don't look to run the slate.
Oh, House and I, we talk. It's like 5-1, right? Higher than that?
Plus 750. Plus 750. But you go through that.
Happen.
There's still tough ones. Well, could they be looking ahead to the Panthers and blow this Bills game? I didn't realize that.
I know they saw Bryce Young today and got freaked out. I think with that Saturday, Wednesday thing, there's no way. That would be insane to get people hurt during that crazy stretch. The other thing with the AFC, other than Cincy at 4-6, I don't see a single team that could make like a second half run out of nowhere unless Miami wins tomorrow night. I don't even really totally believe in Miami, but at least you could be like, all right, Tua's back. They're in the AFC East. They have some easy games.
Yeah,
maybe. But I don't see any out of nowhere teams. So to me, it's Denver and Cincinnati, and then it's a huge drop off.
Yeah, I would say Miami potentially because they could score points, but you were already. We don't even know if Tyreek's playing. Like he said something interesting. Like, and listen, if someone's injured, whatever. I don't know, this is a crazy game that I could never play. But he's like, we'll see how my body feels if I'm going to play or not. If you're Tua, you must be like, I don't even know my name right now. You get your ass in that game. We got to play. We got to win.
Right. Our whole season's on the line.
Yeah, really.
Tyreek does this though. Like he even remember that game last year when he was just coming in out of the game and then his helmet was off, then it was on, then he's playing, then he's not playing.
He does it all the time still.
Very
like if he runs a long route on second down, forget it. You won't see him for the rest of that drive.
Hey, we're gonna do Who's Delivering? Presented by Uber Eats, where we break down the NFL players who have delivered so far this season, from household names two out of nowhere surprises. So you have Bo Nix would be in this, as it seemed crazy that they were counting on him the way they are, but now it actually seems pretty smart, especially when they're paying Russell Wilson to play for the Steelers and he's doing well.
Right.
Bryce Young not being like a disaster who's going to get traded for a 7th round pick. Not that he was awesome today, but at least he wasn't a disaster. I was surprised by that, right? Like, whoa.
Sure. Yeah.
Bryce Young. I can't believe you have this in you. Who else would you have as like a surprise?
You look at that and like just why it's a surprise is the Panthers are just destined to lose by double digits. If you just look at this year, right? Like if it doesn't happen one week, you could bounce back if it wasn't New Orleans. Let's see. Kyle Pitts is really good. No, let me see. Give me a minute. I wish you would tell me about these things.
How about Cade Otton?
Oh, Otton, yeah. Yeah, he's good. He's solid. Let me find someone like decent here. Like
was there a fantasy? I probably should have given you a heads up.
Yeah, why the hell? Why? Give me a heads up.
Was there a fantasy running back or anybody that jumped out? I guess
I like Bucky Irving, but I think I gave him out to you a couple weeks ago.
Well, how about this? How about McLaurin being an A+ list receiver now? Right?
Solid.
If we're doing fantasy drafts over again, I think he's one of the first 5 receivers.
Looks so much faster now than he was, but yeah, that's a good
Mac
one.
Jones, I think. Oh no, wait, no, that's a different.
I just concentrate on bad players because that's all I'm used to now.
Different category. That's who's delivering. I guess Mahomes delivering wins, despite having the worst statistical year again today. 260 yards, 1 TD, doesn't matter, keeps winning. Who's delivering? Presented by Uber Eats, where you get the best deal on game day food all season long. We deliberately left the Cowboys out of who's delivering. Uber Eats, the official on-demand delivery partner of the NFL. Order now. We're going to take a break for the podcast and stay here on the YouTube feed.
Deliver the Cowboys to the XFL. Yeah.
All right, let's go back to that, because what happens to the Cowboys now? I just have some questions to throw at you.
Go ahead.
Because your season's over. Is McCarthy finished the season?
That's very rude. I
like,
think
why
so.
pay for another coach at this point?
Yeah, right. I look, here's what I'll say. The thing about them is like, I didn't expect them to win. I really thought they would suck me back in. Like I thought they were done, but I didn't think they were done sucking me in. I thought Cooper Rush would be competitive, but this game killed me because besides a kicking game, you get to see the Cowboys' incompetence on every level, right? Like tackling, the quarterback play was atrocious. Rush had like 24 yards at halftime, and then they put Trey Lance in. He comes in for like -6 yards with a penalty. Ezekiel Elliott back with a big fumble, which, you know,
huge fumble in the other end zone.
Jesus. It's like just that, and that's more ineptitude in the front office. And then like, and CD Lamb like yucking it up with the Eagles as the gun sounds to end the game. And then we have the owner. It's like every little aspect of it. The owner who blames the mysterious construction of his $1 billion stadium
that he built.
He built it where half the players are going blind.
He bought the stadium from someone else. He built it and was in charge of every aspect of the
disgusting. He's pointing at, it's like, they know where the sun is. Like, good, Jerry, you go to the sun. Go to the light. Yeah. See the sun. It's right there. It's right in the crack in the roof where you wouldn't, you know,
Jim,
everyone wants to put curtains.
Until you go blind.
Oh man, it drives me nuts.
And now the big thing tomorrow is going to be like, should we put curtains up there? It's like this thing. You and I went to the stadium 15 years ago. Like they couldn't figure out the fucking sunlight when it's after daylight savings.
Remember Dallas, the TV show? That was like in the opening, the light going through the stadium. Like, oh wow, that's kind of cool. It's like, no, it's not that cool. I hate this team. I'm really mad. And I feel like I get double effed here because like they don't even change the cadence. Like Cooper Rush is like, here we go. And that gets me angry. And then I have to see the play and that gets me angry. So I'm getting angry like 160 times a game.
Are Dak, my next Cowboys question, are Dak, Lamb, and Parsons all on next year's team?
Yeah, I think so. There's too much money. What are they going to do?
Is Lawrence also on next year's team? Those four. Those 4 guys next year.
I do think so.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. I just want Aubrey. I need the kicker to stay. It's just listen, if they're not on the team, if they're not on the team, that means Jerry's going to trade him, right? And he has been he's been awful. I mean, we got We got Mingo, who didn't even suit up for like like you see what they got for Hopkins versus Mingo, and they do it year after year after year. It's getting bad.
I like the philosophy of, yeah, we got Mingo. We really liked him coming out of the draft.
Right.
It was like,
yeah.
Did you still like him when he couldn't play for Carolina for 2 years?
Yeah.
It'd be like if we really liked somebody for the Ringer 2 years ago, and then the person went somewhere and just handed in a bunch of columns late and did 3 podcasts that had to be aborted. We're like, wow, we really did like him 2 years ago. Let's go get him anyway. Maybe change the scene.
Record labels aren't signing Diddy anytime soon, even though he went double platinum 15 years ago. Is that a bad analogy? All right.
Listen, I'm here for all Diddy analogies.
There you go.
Here's my next question for you, Cowboys related. I'm going to go through every team in the NFC, and you tell me which team you'd rather be than.
This is
such 3 years.
This is a dick move, but
it's not a dick move. It's an exercise.
Yeah. All right. I don't exercise.
Would you rather be Dallas or Philadelphia next 3 years?
That's easy. Philly. Washington, yes.
Would you rather be Dallas or the Giants?
I'm going to say still Dallas, and then I'm going to get kicked in the teeth on Thanksgiving, and that'll be fun.
I think Dallas is the right answer for that. Okay, so you'd rather be so the Giants, we have one.
Are we're going to really do this 16 times?
Well, Detroit, Minnesota, Green Bay, you'd rather be all of those teams.
Sure, yeah.
Would you rather be Dallas or Chicago?
I think their front office is just as effed up, kind of, to be honest with you. I mean, we were texting off to the side.
Definitely worse.
Yeah. So they have to make a coaching change. Not sold on the quarterback. I think that's a push, actually. Can I say push?
Okay, we have a push.
Yeah.
Would you rather be Dallas or Atlanta? I'd rather be Atlanta.
Atlanta.
Would you rather be Dallas or Tampa Bay?
All right. So the first thing I'm thinking about is coach, quarterback. Shit, Tampa Bay.
I think you'd rather have Baker Mayfield. You see him today? He's a fucking hero today.
I know.
It's amazing. I think
he's a hero.
All right, you'd rather be Dallas than New Orleans. That's easy. New Orleans is salary cap hell.
Yeah, that's fine.
We wouldn't want to root for
and the Panthers. I'd be red than the Panthers. Yeah.
All right, so there's 3. You got the Giants, New Orleans, and Carolina.
Yeah.
And I don't think anyone in the NFC West.
I don't think anyone in the West. No.
All right, so there's 3 teams you'd rather be.
That's good. Congratulations.
That's good.
What
Great
a jerk you are. Yeah. Should I do that with you? Should I do that for you with the AFC? What do you have more than 3?
All right, I'll play.
Go ahead.
Buffalo, I'd rather be. Yeah. I'd rather be us than the Jets. I mean, hands down.
Hands down.
I'd rather be us than the Jets. We have Drake May.
Yeah. Okay. That's true. All right.
I think I'd rather be us than Miami because we have Drake May.
Well, if that's going to be your answer for everything, I mean,
we have Drake May, we have Gonzalez, we have Barmore coming back. We're going to have $100 million in cap space. We're going to have like a top 6 pick. I feel good about
May, Gonzalez, and Barmore.
Yeah,
listen to you.
3.
What are you talking about? This is like the 78 Steelers you're talking about. My God,
Pittsburgh, Baltimore, Cincy. I would rather be all of those teams. Yeah. Definitely would rather be us than Cleveland.
Okay, so how many is that?
Cleveland,
3?
Miami, and the Jets. There's already 3. I'd rather be Houston. I'd rather be us than Indianapolis. What's so great about being in that? They just missed on that Richardson pick. It looks like he's unplayable.
Right.
What you mean? I'd rather be us at Tennessee.
Yeah.
I'd rather be us at Jacksonville.
The league really sucks, doesn't it?
Listen KC, Chargers, obviously those guys. Us
Raiders
versus Denver is probably a push. I'd rather have May than anyone at Denver, but Denver has paid.
You'd rather have May than Knicks right now, huh?
Oh, stop it. May Knicks is like 26.
What am I missing with May? What did he do? Well, hold on. I got to go to these stats again.
He has no receivers and no offensive line.
It's been fine.
Keeping them in these games.
You won because you sacked what's his name 9 times. That's why
we love Drake May.
Come on. I know. I see it. But
you know what I love about Drake May? He has a bad play and he shakes it off and he goes right back out there and does flame it.
Dak does that too. Cooper Rush does that. Trey Lance, all the greats.
I'd rather be us than Vegas. So that's like 6 teams. Here's what I love about Drake.
That's depressing. You'd rather be and you make a good point for all of them. Twice as many teams than I would in the NFC. Wow, that's bad. I'm so glad
I'll
we
talk
did
about the
this.
Pats later. I have a different spot. Let's talk about Pittsburgh, Washington, which felt like a real playoff game.
That was the best game.
I think it was an honorable loss for Washington, even though I didn't think they played their best, but they definitely hung and were around the game. And that was by far the best defense they've played. It was a great win for Pittsburgh because a lot of shit went wrong for them for 2 hours. It felt like they were almost trying to give the game away. And then they said, fuck it. And they just took it. And then Russ made a fucking massive throw at the end. Like he hit Williams in stride. Fields never would have made that throw.
Yep.
So, Sal, nobody saw the 7-2 Steelers coming. Oh, wait, somebody did. This guy right here.
Who are you
Me.
pointing to? Oh,
Me.
you. Yeah, you
This
did.
guy with 2 index fingers. Yeah.
You called it.
That's it. So when people do the thing tomorrow, who would have saw the Steelers 7-2? It was fucking me. I called it. I love the Steelers.
All right. All right. Maybe
By the way,
you
if you
called
go
it.
back and you watch our over-unders podcast, we actually kind of killed the podcast. Like I have a chance to go like 25-7, 26-6 on those over-unders.
I know. I saw that.
Just FYI.
I saw that. All right. Good job. But why then were all the announcers, both announcers in that game talking about me picking the Steeler special, the South Steeler special, which is Washington to win the first half.
We're going to you because this is way more impressive. Go ahead. Set up the Cousin South special.
Opponent to win the first half, Steelers to win the game. It takes the Steelers a minute to get going. More than any other team, this happens. 8-1. It's cashed 3 times this year, plus 17 units. Good job by me. Good job by you. Whatever you said in the preseason, but 8-1, 3 times. God bless.
So it's hit 3 times, and if you bet $100 on it each time, you would have just won like $2,400 just on those 3, and lost 100 on the other 7 games. And you'd be up $1,700. There's no better bet in sports.
Thank you.
FanDuel gave us these Ringer Specials tab on their NFL page. The Cousin Sal special should just be its own tab. It should be next to games, futures, Cousin Sal special.
Like, hey, you know why it won't be?
You've invented this.
They don't want to go bankrupt. I don't blame them for hiding it within like 34 other Ringer specials. But no, the Steelers are good. They're good. They're exciting. And I'm not going to say sky's the limit for the playoffs, but they could right now, like if you put a ceiling on them, AFC Championship, not that's going to happen, but like, could they get that far or past it?
So I had some friends at that Washington game today, and that was like the most important home game Washington's had in 15 years, where it was like a true sellout, real fans coming back, like real energy in the building, people there 2 hours for the game. And the Steelers didn't play well, and they still figured out a way to steal the game. And they got stops. Like that game was, I think, 27-21 halfway through the third quarter, and they shut down Washington. Daniels missed a couple throws. I think 2 years from now, he probably wins that game because he had 2 big throws in the second half. But the fact that Wilson can make a couple plays for them, it just wasn't going to happen with Fields. Fields doesn't win that game. He just doesn't. And I was thinking, we were joking watching the games, like, has anybody seemed less cool and more done and then rallied back and seems kind of cool again? It's like, I was thinking like Wayne Brady when he did the Chappelle show.
Interesting.
And he had that Wayne Brady rejuvenation from the Chappelle show. But Russ winning that game and doing like a dance and seeming like Russ again, I was like, holy shit, Russ is back.
Yes. I think people are dying to turn on him too, though, right? I feel like even that with Steelers fans, like they're waiting for the one bad Russ game. But now you're right. At 7-2, this is a whole different story. And Pickens is the most athletic player on that team. I'm sorry, but he
always
comes up
makes
with a dazzling circus catch every week. I mean, football is great when you see like these wide receivers. My father's like, oh, it was always better in my day. These guys didn't sound, no injuries. Like, Dad, you don't have wide receivers toe tapping the sideline and, like pellets kicking up because
like
they know how to drag their feet.
Today.
The Kittle catch
in the corner, that was unbelievable.
They know how to draw. Whatever. I'm not making it, but you see a spectacular play 3 times a week now in the NFL. That's why it's the best.
One thing I liked about Pittsburgh, they did the thing that Detroit kind of didn't do. They just kept running the ball.
Yeah.
They didn't even run the ball that well. I think they were 43 for, were they 43 for like 140, something like that. They were like 3.3 a
They had
game, but
timely runs
they
though.
stuck with it. They'd shoot
Yeah.
it. It felt like they were always getting yardage on first down. They made a couple
Mhm.
big plays. They did this Mike Williams trade that the moment they did it, it was like, of course, this guy's going to be decent for them. And
That's
he
what I
ended up
thought about
scoring the same
Mingo.
amount of points as the Jets today.
Yep.
Um, and then there's the Tomlin piece, which, so where do you think Tomlin ranks for wins all time? Good to guess.
Um,
All time coaches, where does he rank in wins? It's only been
13,
coaching 18 years.
13. No,
Yeah,
it's
so
more
he's
high.
12.
Is it?
I would have
Is
guessed
he
like
12?
30th.
Yeah.
He's only been
Oh, that's a
coaching,
lot.
he hasn't been coaching 2 decades yet.
Yeah, but they're never under 500. So you don't have like any 5-11s or 5-12s in there.
He's 180 and 102.
Yeah.
He's won a Super Bowl. He only has 8 playoff wins. But I was thinking today, like Belichick and Reed are the best 2 coaches of this century, right? Doing the
Mhm.
quarter century, doing the all NFL teams.
Sure.
Tomlin's probably third. It's either him or Sean Payton, right? Maybe John Harbaugh's in there. Um, Probably
Yep.
not Dungy because he retired pretty early.
No respect for McCarthy. It's unbelievable the way you
Definitely
go
not
off here.
McCarthy. There's like a mild Tom Coughlin case just because he won the 2 Super Bowls, but as a regular season coach wasn't great. But I think it's pretty unassailable. Tomlin's either third or fourth, depending on where
Yeah,
you have
because
him versus
Harbaugh
Peyton.
has how many fewer wins, right? Like if you
Yeah.
just go regular season, if you go like that.
But Tomlin's hit this point though where you just feel like he's getting to 9 or 10 wins, and it doesn't matter
Right.
who's on his team. But it's
Mhm.
a specific type of player that he always seems to have. They lucked out over and over again. No, I haven't lucked out. Like there's real ingenuity behind the receivers they take. And I don't know.
Yeah,
This
he's
feels
third.
like one
I
of
would
his
say he's
great
third.
seasons.
They're very good. He was the one that like he almost didn't bring the offense out on 4th and 2, right?
Right.
And then he did. I was screaming, Simmons. I just had this stupid Steelers special thing.
Yeah.
But you got to do that, coaches. You have to
Yeah.
at least do the hard count on 4th and 2. It's
It
not
was
going to work
awesome.
every time. If you get a false start, you're actually in a better position to punt it to the 10 or whatever. So yeah, it was
So
great.
for
I mean, they
Washington,
killed them. They killed them in time of possession too. Like they deserved
yep.
that game. I thought.
For Washington, now they're playing Philly Thursday night, and they might be going from 7-2 to 7-4 in the
Right.
span of 5 days. But they're still a playoff team.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that was weirdly a good loss for them. Like they hung with a really good team, and I thought those were 2 playoff teams.
Yeah.
All right. Next question. So I was going to ask you, would you rather have Drake May or Caleb Williams? But you even want to introduce Bo Nixon to this. So
yeah, I think.
So give me the rankings.
Just of the 4?
Yeah.
I'm going to drop Caleb Williams to 4 right now.
I think you have to.
I'm going to do it. I'll put your guy 3rd. I think Bo Nix is 2nd. I know you would flip him. But this is just for this year,
Bo
right? Yeah, we're not looking.
No, I think who'd you want to have going forward?
Oh, yeah. I'd be very confident in the top 2, in Daniels and then Bo Nix and your guys 3rd. I don't know what to make of Caleb Williams. I really don't, because they won some games they shouldn't have won, and it's a very strange team. They're not resilient at all. They were like 1 play away from being 5-2, and now you don't see them in the playoffs at all, right?
No, I think the Hail Mary probably murdered the team.
Yeah.
Or murdered the season. It's weird. Right. All the stuff you heard about him at USC that people were worried about are kind of on display with the Bears too, right? He just seems like almost like a tennis player playing quarterback. Like he's like playing an individual sport, but also running a team at the same time. And he makes a lot of really, really amateur mistakes. Like it was interesting reading the stories after the game. The Patriots did all this stuff. This was the first. I guess the Pats did okay last week too, but this was actually very well coached game. I got to hand it to Mayo and the crew.
Yeah.
Like they really had a game plan. They wanted to pressure him. They brought in Schooler, who's the best special teams, gunner in the league. They brought him in as like a linebacker to basically spy on Caleb in certain spots. But they basically studied him, and they were like, the guy holds the ball too long. And we felt like if we pressured him and we put a spy on him and we just kind of pushed him, that we could get to him. And they were right. And Caleb does hold the ball on too long, and he's not accurate. Like apparently according to the stats, he's the 2nd least accurate guy in the league.
Right.
for just uncatchable passes. So
Mm-hmm.
they took advantage of all the stuff he wasn't good at. The team can't block. The crowd turned on them immediately. By the second quarter, you could already hear the boos. And I just felt like he checked out.
I
So
think
we'll
so too.
see.
And
Like he's a
I think
rookie QB. We've seen
yeah.
rookie QBs fail, but we'll see.
Eberflus is going to take the brunt of it, though, right? Like everyone's like,
Yes.
"Oh, he doesn't last till tomorrow." You were the first one I heard that talked about Caleb Williams, like maybe not stepping up in this situation, but it's right now. It's squarely on the coach losing the locker room, running wide receivers walking off the field before the play is done, and shit like that.
Yeah, I mean, I had the Pats in a bet today. I thought they really had a chance to win.
Good
It
call.
was interesting with Caleb. He had those 3 games in a row, and it was against the Rams, who were banged up on defense in week 4. They scored 24, they won. They killed Carolina in week 5, they 36-10. Everybody's like, Caleb, Bears, here we go. And then they beat the Jaguars. I think that was abroad in week 6, 35-16. And then they had a bye week. And there were 2 narratives. One was Caleb's figured it out. Here come the Bears. And then I was more in the camp of, can we see them play like some good teams first before we
Right.
have a parade? So they had the bye week. They lose that game to Washington where they only scored 15 and they really couldn't do anything the whole game. Arizona kills them last week.
Mm-hmm.
And then the Pats, who have a shitty defense, looked like the 85 Bears against them. So, they can't block, but the body language on the team is awful.
Well, and it was also their defense had gone like 12 straight without allowing more than 20 points or something, or
Yeah.
once in 12 games or something like that. And so he
They
was
didn't do it
benefiting
today.
off of
They allowed
that.
19.
Yeah, he's like kind of Teflon because the defense was very good, and Eberflus, when they lose, it's Eberflus's fault. And you could say the Hail Mary, they got rooked, but what about week 1 when Levis just handed them? They had like no offense. They had like 140 yards of offense. So I know it's week 1; it's his very first game, but this team is kind of where they should be.
I'm sure there's going to be I'm sure this is going to be a huge topic this week, and there's going to be people defending him, and then there's going to be people really breaking down that he hasn't been good.
Didn't he want to own the team, a piece of the team? When you say he was like running the team, that's what I thought of immediately. That would have been good.
From what I saw today, I wasn't afraid of him when he was going back to pass.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. That team might be really poorly coached, and we've seen. Like I went to the Celtics Nets game on Friday night. See, I was able to bring basketball.
There we go. Good job.
And the Nets are really well coached. And I felt that way watching them on TV, but I got to see it in person up close. And that team was on the same page. They were bringing in bench guys who were playing hard, who were playing defense, who were picking up guys full court. They were rebounding. They were really, really trying. They were running good plays out of timeouts. And I was like, this team's well coached. You watch the Bears today, and it's like, this team's a fucking disaster.
Right.
Like they clearly shouldn't have this coach anymore. But it's a franchise that is usually afraid to make moves until after the season. From what I saw today, and I watched that game pretty closely, like that Hail Mary seems like that killed that Eberflus era.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. He might have lost the locker room before that. But yeah, it is tough to spot an okay or bad team who's well coached. Like I think we felt that about Tennessee when Vrabel was around. And, they've won some divisions too. But even when they were bad, you're like, all right, this team, they fight for them and they're good and they do the basics, right?
Tomlin's been like that too.
Yeah.
Where Tomlin can have these
team.
crappy offenses and still figure out how to go 9-8. This Bears team's a mess.
Yep.
The Jaguars look like a mess. Like there's teams you watch and you're like, this team's a mess. Brandon Staley last year, Ron Rivera last year. You know who the teams are that are super sloppy.
The Jaguars, by the way, I know we don't need to spend much time on that. 12-7 Minnesota. But it was 42-18 in time of possession for Minnesota.
Wow.
And I was like thinking, I want to see time of possession, like Jags time of possession versus progressive ads we saw in the 3 hours. Like Mac Jones or Flo. Who do we see on the screen more? I think it would be close. Boy,
what
that
a wonderful, that should have been a great FanDuel bet of combined Darnold, Mac Jones, because they were 0 touchdowns, 5 picks. I was in Boston over the weekend and I did a interception parlay. So great having legal gambling, like just being able to go on and make dumb FanDuel bets. It was Bryce Young, Mac Jones, and Will Levis. And it was like 3.5 to 1. I was like, this is going to be so much fun. And then Carolina, I wake up, they're up 7-0. Bryce somehow doesn't throw a pick, the bet doesn't win. The other two guys did though.
Oh, they did. The other two
Yeah.
came in. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's
Of
the
course they
problem with the
came in.
Giants. The Panthers like took a lead, and it's like, oh shit, Bryce Young's only going to throw the ball like 10 more times in the second half.
Yeah. So big picture, like Caleb is obviously an asset. He's obviously talented. They have to figure out the coach thing now, because you don't want this to go in a direction where, you know, he loses confidence, the chemistry goes completely sideways, whatever. Let's take one more break for the podcast and then we'll keep going. All right, staying here on the YouTube feed. So season from hell rankings. We had San Francisco in the lead until today. I think it's the Jets.
San Francisco was in the lead season from hell.
Yeah, because of all the injuries they had, and you know
from week 0 to
500,
9.
and yeah, just like what else can go wrong? McCaffrey misses 10 weeks. Ayuk goes out for the year. They lose guys on defense. They blow a couple dumb games. Like they were kind of felt season from hellish, but now I think the Jets have locked it up.
Well, it depends how you look at it. Like my quarterback's out for the year. Maybe you didn't think he was doing much anyway, but the Jets quarterback is still hobbling around, and you know he's not the right guy, right? So that's the season from hell. I'm fine with the Jets being the season from hell.
Well, think about all the trades they've done. They fire their coach. They think that's going to fix it. Then it's Devontae Adams is going to be the savior. That's going to finish. They've 6 points today for them. Some of the stats from this game: Kyler Murray completed 17 straight passes at one point. The Jets allowed 4 70-plus yard drives in the same game. The Cardinals had 28 first downs on 57 plays. Insane. So that jumped out to me. I was like, that almost seems impossible. Like, I got to go and look at NFL history and see. So you can do it on that stat head thing.
Right.
Teams that had 57 or less plays and 28 or more for it only happened one other time in the history of the league. The 2023 Niners, 53 plays, 30 first downs. There were 3 teams that ran 58 plays and had 28 first downs or more. But like, that's how rare this is. That's how bad the Jets were. They were historically awful, giving up first downs on like first or second down. And
I think the defense, remember coming into this year, like whatever, Rodgers was always going to be a question mark. The Jets defense is elite. All you need is Rodgers to be average. Well, Rodgers is a little below average.
Better than Zach Wilson.
Yes, exactly. And he's not, if you look at how many points they have through week 10 this year and last.
Do you want the exact number?
Total points? Yeah.
Last year, they averaged 16.6 points per game. This year, they're averaging 18.3.
Oh, that really?
Yeah.
That's that much more?
Rodgers is worth 1.7 points more, but their defense is worse. And they lost Salah, who, you know, 7-kid Salah. We made a lot of jokes, but their defense played better when he was the head coach. Like, he's just back.
You got, as a Patriots fan, you have to love this, right? You have to absolutely love this. You're both
I have Jets fans in my life that I have real affection for, and they're about as downtrodden about football as any fan base I know. So I feel bad for that. But Rodgers has just been such a prick the last few years. It's hard.
I noticed that too.
It's hard not, like, you know, even like the trading Mike Williams and making them trade for Devontae Adams and all this stuff, and the coach getting fired. And,
I love it. The ball goes right through Devontae Adams' hands on third down, and then a big sack on fourth. It was just all falling apart. Yeah, I do feel bad for New York. Just in general, New York teams are like 5-15. I know the Liberty won. That's fun. But for God's sakes, Jets over Giants for year from hell. I guess so, only because of the expectations.
Yeah, I guess if you're making the case for the Giants fans, they have to watch Daniel Jones.
Yeah.
Who, I mean, that Panthers game today.
Did you wake up? Be honest.
I woke up, it was 7-0.
Okay.
Even though I flew in last night, I was still like, this game is too Germany, Eisen making beer garden jokes. I gotta wake up. Right. And the Panthers are just awful. It's unbelievable that they won 2 in a row. Like, I'm telling you, they're terrible. Like, and Panthers fans can be like, fuck you, we're getting better. It's like, you're not a good team.
All right, I believe you.
You're really awful. You're terrible at football. You had no business winning the game. Like, Gano missed a field goal. Jones had that interception he threw in late in the fourth quarter. You know, and then like they run that flea flicker and he misses the two completely wide open guys. And they're talking about how upset Dayball is. It's like, it was 3rd and 1 and you're running a flea flicker with Daniel Jones. Like, just hand the ball off.
Yeah.
Why are you making him do anything? It's like, if I took my dog outside without a leash, right? And he ran across the street and ran up to the neighbor's yard and like, trounced the flowers and then got in a fight with their dog. It's like, is that my dog's fault or is that my fault? Is it my fault
did
for
this
letting my
happen?
dog out without a leash? Like, no, I'm just saying, like,
Is this your parent corner? No, of
when we
course.
take our dog out, he has a
They're
leash on.
awful.
It's like, you have Daniel
Yes.
Jones on your team. Don't do flea flickers with him. Don't have him throw in tight windows when you need a score inside the 20-yard line. Like, it's idiotic.
That'd be a good nickname for a dog, flea flicker. But no, you're right. That was awful. I'm sorry you had to wake up to that. I mean, that was a hostage situation, keeping them for overtime to see the freaking Panthers win 20-17.
They all seem drunk. They seem drunk and happy.
Yeah, it's
the
true.
Germans.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. Can I tell you, I want to pitch that, and this would be better than Hard Knocks. And we make jokes about the flight back from London. Like, I want to see the losing coach from checking into the airport, whether it's Heathrow or whatever, Munich, all the way through to flight New York.
Going abroad with blank. Yeah.
I want to see the losing coach fly home, wherever it is,
just
Munich,
going through customs,
Tanzania.
just being bummed out.
I want to see what he orders and drinks on the plane and what he says if he's mean to the flight attendants and hear him cursing in his sleep. I'd watch that 5-hour stream. I would do it.
I was mad because House and I, for $1 million picks, we did Giants to win by 14 plus and Niners to win by 14 plus. So they go down 7-0. I'm like, you got to be kidding me. But I also had the Giants in a money line. I did like a stupid parlay when I was in Boston. So I was like, all right, at least can the Giants just win this? And the Panthers are terrible.
Yeah.
Like, they're really bad. Chuba Hubbard's good. Like, and he was probably the reason they won, but their team's just not good. They don't have any, they can't complete third downs. Like, people are like, oh, Bryce Young looked better today. It's like, okay, I guess he looked better than somebody who shouldn't be in the league, but it wasn't like he was good. Like, he was missing
so bad
3rd and 9 throws all over the place. Doesn't really run.
I think I was offered Chuba Hubbard in 3 fantasy trades this week. And I was like mad at the people who proposed it. And then I looked at his numbers. I'm like, oh, they're pretty damn good. And I was like, I don't want to watch them and root for their offense. Right. Why would you ever want that? Unless you live in the state.
No, see, I feel like this, maybe, even though I lost a little money on this week, I still feel like long-term we're in a good spot because they're coming off a bye and then they have home games against Kansas City and Tampa.
Who are you talking about? Carolina?
It'll be like, oh, Carolina, 2-game winning streak. They've righted the ship. And it's like, I don't think they've righted any ship. I think they stink. So I guess we'll find out. All right. What else did I have for you?
Well, the problem is there's like 9 teams at stake. We're going to get like, we're going to get like 7 or 8 teams with 6 wins or fewer. It doesn't really happen if you look back in the last 5 years. There's like 2 or 3 teams with 4, but to get like, close to 10 teams with like 6 wins. It's gross.
When do we start taking the following teams seriously heading into week 11? Are we there yet? The Eagles are 7-2.
Yeah.
Do you take them seriously as an actual contender who could be in the NFC title game?
I do. And it's not just coming off this Dallas game, but I feel like they hit their stride. They got the running back they need. The tush push works with their freaking backup. When stuff like that happens, I'm like, that's good. I still have the Lions a big step ahead of them, but yeah, they could be deep into January. You don't
Not
think
quite
so?
there yet.
No,
I want to see Thursday night. Yeah, their wins this year: Green Bay in that Brazil game. They beat the Saints, the Browns, the Giants. They beat the Bengals. That was a good win. No T. Higgins. Beat the Jaguars. They beat your team, which was
my team's good.
A corpse.
They're still not really fully healthy. I don't know if they'll get there, but that's the other thing.
I want to wait because they play Washington this week. They're at the Rams. They're at Baltimore. And I know it's a cop-out, but I want to wait for those 3 games.
That's
but
true.
they definitely look better than they did second half of last year, start of this year.
Yeah, well, this is where they were last year, right? About 7-2 or something. Then they just tanked the last 6.
I don't trust their coach. Do you trust the Cardinals yet?
I like watching them. That's all I could really say. I like watching their offense, right? And they don't embarrass themselves on defense. And they have What do you mean? You mean trust like for the
Are
playoffs?
you taking
Because
them seriously yet? Yeah.
yeah, I think I have to because of their schedule and the fact that they're able to move the ball and don't seem afraid of any of these teams.
They have the Pats in Carolina later.
Yeah.
So that's probably 2 more wins. They play Seattle twice next 3 weeks.
Right.
Play Minnesota. They play the Rams. They played the Niners last week of the season. I think it's
That's
a
the
10-win
last week.
team.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they
I
have
think they're a 10-win team.
4 division games, so that's the key, right? A lot of
Yeah.
these teams haven't played anyone in division, so that's big.
I like how they can run the ball, like, and they're really fit. Like Connor is just. I remember when Pittsburgh let him go. I didn't think it was a big deal at all, right? Did you?
Sure.
It's like, oh
No,
my
I thought
God,
he
they
was
could let
busted.
James Conner go. Nobody said that, and I think
Yeah.
he's been good in Arizona.
McBride's good. They have some weapon. Like I was surprised to know that that was Harrison's 5th touchdown. I was about to come on tonight and go on a rant about how
Where is he? Yeah,
they've done well despite the fact that this generational receiver hasn't produced, but 5 touchdowns, pretty good.
yeah. So playoff picture. If you got Detroit at 8-1, Minnesota 7-2, I'm still not positive as a playoff team because Darnold seems like he's arrow pointing down. Washington, Philly, Green Bay, and then you have Arizona, San Francisco, Rams. 6-4 Arizona, 5-4 San Francisco, 4-4 Rams. I think they're a playoff team. I think they're going to make it. I thought today was a key one, and House and I talked about it Thursday. I didn't understand the line. I didn't know what I was missing. I didn't understand why people were overrating the Jets based off that Texans game on a Thursday night. I think people always overrate those Thursday night games. I didn't think the Jets were good. I thought Arizona was better. And to me, it was like an easy bet. But the line shifted. The Jets were favored heading into the game.
That's
like,
kind of
what am I missing with this Jets team? They suck.
Isn't that what happened against Houston? Like Houston was favored by 1.5 when we did the pod, and then the Jets were favored. And like as soon as that 1.5, which is the mysterious number this year, flips, I get in sprinter's position. I'm like, I'm staying away from this game. Right. But you figured it out. That was good for you that the Arizona's minus 110 both ways to make it or not make it.
I like it.
It's a fun one.
The Chargers. I think I believe in them too. I think that's a 5 seed or a 6 seed. Excellent defense, excellent QB. Herbert's been really good this year. Excellent coach. They can block. Their receivers, I think, are a little better than we were expecting. That Quentin Johnston, who anybody could have had in a fantasy draft, nobody took him. They have a 2-game lead for the wild card. Here's the key, though. Their next 4 is Cincy, Baltimore, at Atlanta, at KC. So they probably have to go 2-2 out of those 4. 3-1, they're golden, but 2-2 gets them to 8-5, and they're cruising after that. But I think, I think that team knows who they are, and they're really well coached.
2 weeks ago, I agree. They were minus 150 to make the playoffs. Last week, minus 310. Now, minus 430 to make the playoffs. And I'm just not used to the Chargers winning games they're supposed to win, right? Like this is 3 weeks in a row, the Browns, the Saints, and the Titans. So big test next week, as we said, with the Bengals. That's a fun game.
I have some 2024 Dallas Cowboys silver linings for you.
What? I thought we were off this like 25 minutes ago.
This part too. Silver lining number 1, really good draft pick coming. You're gonna have like a top 7 pick.
Good.
Now, granted, Jerry's gonna probably trade up so he could take Travis Hunter and put him next to CeeDee Lamb and be like, "Oh, look at our receivers! Oh,
yeah,
Travis Hunter and CeeDee Lamb. Oh my God, we have nobody who can block, but look at those 2 receivers." Good draft.
He'll mortgage everything to get Travis Hunter, Shador Sanders, and Dion to coach. That's when I think I walk away. I think that's got to be it.
That's it.
Like I think that
Larry David quit the Jets.
Yeah, because then he's just screwing with everybody, right? That now it's like, oh, this was a practical joke. All right, Jerry, you're funny. You're the funniest owner.
Silver lining: Belichick or Vrabel? Who would you pick? You get choice of 1.
I think Vrabel.
I think that's the right pick.
Really?
Yeah.
Let's get into this. Why?
I think Vrabel's a really good coach, and he's like 25 years younger than Belichick.
Right. Yeah, but his girlfriend is not. She's only about 4 years older. Yeah.
Girlfriend's 20 years older than Belichick's girlfriend.
That's crazy.
More silver linings. We don't have to watch TV segments about them anymore because I just don't think by, I don't know, week 15, there's nothing left no meat on the bone.
NFL's in trouble a little bit with some of these night games and nothing they can do about Thanksgiving, but they've, you know, One thing you could always say about the Cowboys, even if they were out of playoff contentions, like, oh, everybody watches them because they have fantasy players. It could be
Yeah,
tough to
they shut
start
down CD Lamb.
CD Lamb, but in like 3
Yeah.
weeks.
City Dallas has Luke in the Mavs. So that's silver lining.
I don't care.
And then even though you haven't made the Super Bowl since 95, there's a bunch of teams that have longer droughts than that.
Oh, great.
Detroit, Cleveland, the Jets, Minnesota. Miami hasn't made the Super Bowl since 1976.
I know that. Oh man, I feel so fucking good now. That's really good.
I need to feel better.
Thanks, man.
Oh, and curtains. You're gonna have curtains in the stadium, so the receivers
They're
will
showing
get
like,
blinded.
were we there? Was the last WrestleMania there when we were there? I think it was. They're showing like the curtains they put up to block the sun and everything.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, it's this easy. They just use curtains.
You have the curtains. The new coach theory is back. House talked me out of it. That motherfucker on Monday, $1 million
Oh,
picks.
really?
He was like, we can't bet on Derek Carr. He tried to murder his teammate last week. I was like, fine, we won't. And then new coach theory wins. Darren Rizzi, who sounds like somebody you would be buddies with.
Bergen County,
the parlay
bro.
kids coming, and Brad and Darren Rizzi.
Darren Rizzi, the parlay
Ken,
kid.
he's in a fight with Ken. Harry had intervened because Ken got mad at Darren Rizzi.
Oh, there's so much truth to that. I like this guy. He's fun. How am I not rooting for this team? He talked about clogging the toilet this morning in his morning shit before the game. I was like, this should be my guy. And he has the players stretching out. He's like, one of my big things is
for him.
Well, what's the crazy commercial we see all the time with the Rizzy? Sky Rizzy? They call him Sky Rizzy. It doesn't, I mean, if he doesn't really make sense.
He talked about clogging the toilet. We got to call him the clogger.
Yeah. Oh, the clogger. Yeah. Clapper, meet the clogger. I love
clogger. Well, we had Pit Boss Rich, who treated us really well that one year with the Raiders.
Yeah.
We won on him a bunch of weeks. Now we got the clogger.
Oh, I love the clogger.
The clogger's in, man.
Is he going to do that? Is that good luck? Like, is he going to have to do that every Sunday now?
Yeah. He's going to have a lot of like Metamucil and cheese the night before a game.
Bean burritos. Yeah.
Oh, I broke my rule and bet on the Germany game, which I swore I wasn't going to do.
You did.
All my rules for the year: don't bet on the Germany game. Don't bet on a game with two bad teams. I was sitting on a plane before takeoff, which is I think the single most dangerous time to be on FanDuel.
Yeah,
and
right.
Just like Giants, like just killing time.
Yeah.
Next one. Was Deebo Samuel right or wrong for getting mad at the kicker? The guy missed 3 field goals. Like, how many field goals did he have to miss? It was a long snapper,
right? Wasn't it?
No, he was mad at the kicker, and the long snapper intervened.
Oh, he went after he got his throat. Yeah.
Yeah.
What an interesting kicker. I don't know what happened with Deebo. There might be some medication issues. Did you see what he came in like dressed as, like down the tunnel? And then he had like leather, a nice little leather number up top and then shorts. And then he's like going after his long snapper's throat. But I think he's right. You can't go missing all these kicks.
Well, what's the right number of missed field goals before you're really allowed to get mad at the kicker without repercussions? Like,
interesting.
If he missed 7, could you get mad at him?
Yeah. I think so. We have a friend.
3 feels like the right number. And that 3, like somebody in the team can at least side eye him.
We have our buddy Stephen Green who kicked, and he was a great kicker in high school and in college, and then quit. And then we made a push for him to be on an arena team, and those goalposts are like it's nothing. It's really like 18 inches away from each other. He missed I think he was playing for like Gainesville, Florida or something. He missed a field goal, and they were like screaming at him on the bus the whole way back to wherever he was. They were in Alabama. He had to drive Florida. Yeah, I feel like there's a lot of that. And just kicking in general. What happened like in September? They were blasting like 57 yarders.
Yeah, Gano missed like a 40-yarder today.
And we saw it happen with the Lions too. That was crazy with Fairbarn missing and Lions just turning it right around.
This is a really bad omen for the Niners, and it's something I've bet against over the years, and it's been successful when it gets toward playoff time. So before this game today, they were 30th in special teams DVOA. So they were one of the 3 worst teams.
Right.
Today they had 3 missed field goals and they muffed a punt return.
Mm-hmm.
They might have the worst special teams in the entire league. There's no way that's going to turn out well for them in the playoffs. Like no way. It always rears its ugly head. week 18, round 1, something bad happens with it. So I'm just flagging that now.
They don't even get to play the Cowboys. I know. I looked at that. Do you know how many yards, total yards? I know you said Baker was great today. The Tampa had 215 total yards. I said, how is that game close? How is that 23-30?
He was
San
great
Francisco
because you had to
413.
watch it when they're like sacking him and he's just not going down and throwing.
Yeah.
Even Brady was making noises with some of the Baker
Oh,
plays.
wow.
Yeah.
Brady
He
is
like
making
aroused
noises.
Brady. He woke him up.
Do they have a meter? They should have a Brady noise meter.
He's like, oh. Can Joe Flacco win the come down player of the year? He won comeback player of the year last year. Come down? Or is
Interesting.
Sam Darnold eligible just from the comeback and then the come down in the same year?
Could we come back? Or should we go away? Should we come back and go away award? Go away player of the year?
Just leave. Use the back door.
Yeah. I'll tell you what, I was proud of myself. I live bet the Bills. I saw Flacco throw 3 passes. He definitely doesn't have that zip, right? Like
doesn't look right. He looked bad last week too.
Yeah, he did. The only thing now it's all about it. What happened? How dare they bench Anthony Richardson? I'm like, all right, it was 2 weeks ago. He was like 2 for 15 at halftime with 28 yards. How about they figure something out where they put him in packages and figure out how to use 2 quarterbacks? Is that the worst thing in the world?
So glad you brought this up. I've been dying for a team to do this, where it's like one guy comes in, and then the next series it's the other guy, and we just. If I'm the other team, I would hate that. It's like, well, both of these guys kind of suck, but now you're using both of them, and I don't know what to do and what defenses to use, basically.
Listen, you're not going to raise the level of Anthony Richardson's confidence putting him back there on 3rd and 12, right? But if it's 3rd and 2 and you're bringing him in, it's like, oh my God, now this guy's run for 4 first downs in a row, or if he's even faked a run and thrown from, that's the way to build it back up, I think.
7 turnovers combined for Joe Flacco and Sam Darnold today. We're going to take one more break for the podcast, then we're going to do Guess the Lines. So before we do Guess the Lines, the underdogs made a little bit of a comeback today, but you know what else has quietly made a comeback? I almost don't want to say it. I'm going to knock on wood. The tease has made a little bit of a resurgence. Eagles Chargers hit. I hit a 4-teamer in real life. Eagles Chargers.
Real life.
Eagles Chargers.
That's a 2-teamer.
Ravens on Thursday night. And then what was the other obvious one today? Eagles, Chargers.
Did you have the Chiefs?
No, it wasn't the Chiefs. What was the other one that was like a 7-point game?
Minnesota.
No.
San Francisco.
No.
Chargers, you said.
Chargers, Eagles. Oh, it was the Niners.
Yeah.
Yeah, that one hit.
That was good. Yeah, I like the teasers. I did a deep dive on something with teasers, and everybody always tells us we're playing it wrong. Like if a team's a 5.5-point favorite and we tease it, and then like the snooty gamblers don't talk to us for like 3 weeks, they get mad.
We crossed the line.
Because we crossed the zero. They said never do a teaser unless you're crossing the 3 key numbers, 3, 6, and 7. So if it's on the plus side, you want to get it like +1.5, +2, +2.5.
Yeah.
If you want to bring it down, it's 8.5, 7.5. Yeah, right there.
I agree with that.
Yeah, no, I'm not going to do it. I just thought it was interesting.
Well, on the other hand, you just could have teased the Bills today to like +1.5, and you would have won because you had the Bills in the tease. Thursday night. Really good game. Eagles, Washington. I would say this is probably the most exciting Thursday night game we've had. There's real stakes. Division's at stake. Washington could go from 7-2 to 7-4 in 5 days.
Better hit it exactly, because I did.
I was vacillating between 2.5 and 3. And I went Eagles by 2.5.
Good. All right. It's 3.5.
Oh.
That's what I had.
Okay.
Not trusting
Washington.
Washington.
High. I guess they think maybe the Eagles can run on Washington.
That's a tough spot for Jaden Daniels, right? Still on the road in division. You know, they're not going to take the Eagles by surprise. That's for sure.
Sunday marquee. It's a nice little 7-point tease with Washington. get them to 10.5.
Wait, are you
Sunday marquee
crossing?
game, Chiefs Bills, game of the year so far, probably, right?
Yes.
Has there been a better game since maybe Chiefs Ravens week 1?
Lots of fun.
So, as I said earlier, I would have had the Bills by 1 or 1.5, but I think after today, I just think I just think the Chiefs are going to be favored. I just have Chiefs -1.
Wait, what happened? I had Bills -1 and it's Bills -1.5. But I don't even understand that logic. What did you see out of the Chiefs that you loved there?
It was more what I saw from the Bills. I
Oh,
feel like with the receivers,
what
I
with
don't know.
receivers being out? I mean, I feel like he's
Yeah,
got so
Cooper
much
didn't
to
play.
do.
Coleman didn't play. I don't know if
I
those
know,
guys are
but
playing next Sunday.
they have tight ends that can catch the ball. They have that Ray Davis guy. I feel like Allen gets it done. He figures it out
He
eventually.
0 touchdowns and 2 picks today.
Yeah. All right. And they still won.
So you're telling me I get to bet on Patrick Mahomes as an underdog again, is what you're telling me. Well, that's great news. Because there's no better bet in sports, and I'll be making it.
Well, you should make it soon because I'm also telling you that the 1.5s have swung almost every time this year. So they could easily be giving 1.5.
Well, the move
Tuesday
is to
morning.
tease them right now with at least one game.
Yeah. Do it with your beloved Commanders. Yeah.
The watchables. 5 watchables this week. Steelers home for the Baltimore Ravens.
Mm-hmm.
I think the Steelers are going to be favored by 1.5.
Oh, wow, Bill. Way off.
What do you mean
You'll
way off?
You'll love this in a teaser. I had Ravens by 3. It's Ravens by 3.5.
Get the fuck out of here. I
Right?
guarantee I'm right on that.
I guarantee you're wrong.
No, I'm saying
I
I
have a different
guarantee my instinct on what that line should be is the right instinct.
Oh.
That's stupid.
See, I thought the Steelers should have been
line.
favored over Washington, but Washington was favored over the Steelers, right? Baltimore's got a very big power
Steelers
rating.
are good. All their dudes are back. Now we'll see with Highsmith whether he's out for because he hurt his ankle in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, you kind of need all hands on deck to beat
the
this
Steelers
Ravens.
were healthy until that happened, but
well, they'll score. I mean, that's one thing with this Ravens, man. Look out. There's no shortage of points when you play them.
Their defense stinks.
Yep.
I should say their pass defense stinks. I think you can, if you're within 7 points of them in the last 10 minutes of a game, you can go down the field and throw the ball on them over and over again, and they can't stop it.
That was a great Thursday game too. That was a lot of fun. Yep. Zach Taylor, we kill him a lot, but go for 2. Nice. Need a different play, but that was a good decision, I thought.
It was a good decision. I thought to put up that kind of offense without Higgins was really impressive. And Chase was obviously out of his mind, but no, they're good. And Chase Brown had that fumble, and I just felt like that was an either-or game, and the Bengals have somehow lost 3 of those this year.
Yeah.
I'm putting this in the watchables just because Drake May for me is now just in the watchables category, and it's I'm in charge against the Lions. I can do whatever I want.
That's true.
I have the Rams at the Patriots, and I have the Rams favored by 3.5.
I said 4.5. It is 5.5.
No,
you're just a little bit
it.
off here.
Stop it, Vegas.
Wait, what was the line today?
That's stupid. The crowd's going to be
6.5.
The Pats fans are in on Drake May. Like that. This would be a good crowd on Sunday.
I know. I'm saying.
I think there's real excitement about him now. That's too high. I think that drops.
Maybe a little.
Jets Colts, I think, has to be a watchables because this is the Jets are kind of train wreck TV now, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's like when my wife watches Below Deck Australia.
Oh,
it's not a good show, but weird shit's happening every episode. I feel like that's the Jets.
What is that shit? What is that? Below Deck Australia.
The Below Deck.
No.
Your wife doesn't watch Below Deck?
No, I'm on the Penguin right now, and I block everything.
It's a reality show. It's like these people that work on yachts, and these people rent the yachts for a week, so they have to, work for the people. But it's all about like the underneath the boat, all the relationships. They're all hooking up, getting mad at each other, but then they have to deal with like these people that rented the boat for the week. My wife loves the show.
That's fun. Are you buying another yacht? Is that what you're saying?
Could it be another yacht?
Well, you have one, and then this would be
I
no.
don't have any yachts.
All right. Come on, I'm just joshing.
You're jashing.
I'm just joshing. Yeah,
Um,
you're gonna get
Jets.
this one.
Jets home for the Colts. I have the Jets -2.
Oh, all right. I had 2.5. It's 3.5.
Come on.
This
So
is good.
I haven't gotten one right yet.
This is good. No, I'm up 5-0. This is insurmountable at this point.
It's usually a bad sign for my betting when I'm off on the lines like this.
Well,
I
how
so
long? How long are they going to be in the Jets' corner? These odds makers, because this
well,
is a little
so
bit silly. Yeah,
I thought this would be the week when maybe they watched the
back
Jets and
off.
saw that they gave up 4 70-yard plus drives and 28 first downs and 57 plays, and we're like, maybe this team's not good. Broncos home for the Falcons. This is like an actual good game that I'm excited to watch. Who would have thought? Falcons by 1.5 over the Broncos.
This was Falcons one night. You're gonna think I'm screwing with you. It was Falcons 1.5. I said Denver -1. It's Denver -1.5 now. I promise that's how it went. And
Okay.
they should be favored. Denver should be favored. You don't think they're better than Atlanta right now?
I mean, Atlanta could have 3 less wins and it would totally make sense.
Right.
Last one, Niners, Seahawks. It's in San Francisco. I think this just absolutely pulsates of the Vegas zone. And I'm going to say Niners by 5.
You get this one. I said 4.5. It's 6.5. That's high. I think they play 2 out of the next 3 weeks. Is that possible?
Yeah. So if you look at Seattle right now, which
Oh no, they played already. Sorry. Yeah, good.
Seattle's season isn't over, but it's not looking great. They're 4-5. And they have at San Francisco, home Arizona, at Jets, at Arizona. And they have to go at least 3-1 in those 4, I think, to even sniff the playoffs.
I agree.
4-0 ideally, but
I don't know. But is Metcalf going to play like that? Like,
yeah,
it seems so important to them, like AJ Brownish.
The fairly watchables. Packers at the Bears. The Bears are not watchable. I can attest to that today. I'm gonna say Packers by 3.5 for this.
Yeah, I said that too, and we're way off. Let's say 6.5.
Oof. I guess that makes sense because the Bears look awful.
Everyone's out on them. Why can't FanDuel be out on the Jets like they are the Bears? But
I'll say this: if they fire their coach, I'll be betting the Bears in that game.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Does he have to clog the toilet, or you'll do it like
the clogger?
Shit unseen. Yeah.
I love the clogger. He came up with a new coach nickname today. This podcast was a success.
That's good. You did a good job.
Lions are home for the Jaguars, and you can't quite go to 10 for this. I'm going to say 9.5.
Oh, you can. I said 11.5. It's 12.5.
Oh, stop it. That's stupid.
I mean, they're just going to kill some teams, right?
Yeah, but that's too high.
I love that. 3-team teaser.
Coming off like an emotional win.
We're doing it. 3-teamer.
Oh, so we could 3-team tease that still at 12.
That's what I mean. Yeah, you could get the
Wait,
Chiefs.
can we take the Chiefs to 11.5?
Yeah, you can.
Oh, I'm doing that when we
and then the Jets to +6. No,
we're not touching that. Last one is Dolphins Raiders in Miami. And I said Dolphins by 6.5.
You got it exactly. Good job. I said 5. 6.5 it is.
Poop Factor. Vikings at Tennessee. I have Vikings by 3.5.
No, you went low here. I said 5.5. It's 6.5.
Yeah, I'm putting that game on upset watch.
They're not screwing around with these lines. They're like, we're not, even though I know the underdogs, fired away today, they're making
the
these
Vikings easily could have lost that game today to the Jaguars.
I know, but look at the numbers. I know what you're saying.
It was sitting there as a loss, and the Jaguars are just too stupid. Saints are home for the Browns. New coach theory. Still in existence for the second week. I got the Saints by 1.5.
All right, you get this. I don't know. Why am I doing the pick'ems? It's so stupid. It's 2.5.
Okay. Sunday night. Chargers, Bengals. Kind of a must win for the Bengals. I'm going to say Chargers by 1.5.
Oh, no. Are you making a comeback here? I said 1. 1.5 it is.
That's in LA. I don't think there's going to be a huge Cincinnati crowd.
9-5. Can we go to that? We should go to that and do the podcast right afterwards in the parking
Sunday
lot.
night?
No, we're not doing that.
Monday night, Texans Cowboys battle for Texas. Putting it in the
Oh man,
cusp of the Vegas zone. Texans minus 5.5 at Dallas.
Oh no. I said 7. It's 6.5. So
Oh,
I get it.
That one
That's
too.
a win
All right,
for
you won
me.
the week.
All right, 6-4-1
Congrats.
overall. I love it in weeks. Yeah, that the league must be so pissed they have to show the Cowboys in prime time. What a disaster.
Can we talk basketball for 1 second?
Sure. I'm going to go clog the toilet. Go ahead.
Actually, let's take one more break for the podcast because
Okay.
I have a basketball thing I want to bring up. All right, staying here on the YouTube. So I have this basketball thing. I didn't want to wait till Tuesday because I think it's important. You know, Giannis, the Bucks lost again today. They're 2-8.
Yeah, what's up?
And I think the Giannis trade stuff is really going to start. People making up fake trades. And so, as I said, I went to that Nets Celtic game on Friday. And the Nets are like pretty good. You know, they don't have like, they traded Bridges for all these picks. They were supposed to try to tank. They got their pick back. They have just a shitload of picks. They have Cam Thomas, who I was really impressed by, who's a very good scorer. They have Cam Johnson. They have Nick Claxton. They have Schroeder's playing really well. They have like a bunch of good, not stars, but like enough of a team that the team makes sense when you watch it. Like they're good. They play defense.
Yeah.
I like them. I actually think they're a playing team at least. I think they can just go all in for Giannis. Because people are going to ask this week, who's the team that makes sense for Giannis? They're going to be like, what about Miami? What about? I actually think it's Brooklyn. I think Brooklyn's going to be the team that trades for them because they can just overwhelm Milwaukee with all these picks. They own their own first in 2025. They own Phoenix's first. They own the Knicks first. They own Milwaukee's first, which is 1 through 4 protected. If it's 5 or after, they get it. So the Bucks can get their pick back. They own their own first in 26 and 29. In 27, they can swap with Houston can swap with them. They own the Knicks first in 27. They have Philly 1 through 8 protected at 27. They have their own. They have the Knicks first in 29. They have another Dallas, Phoenix, Houston worst pick in 29. They have all their own first. They have a Knicks first in 31. Like they just can say, hey, Milwaukee, here's Ben Simmons' expiring contract. And here are all these picks. Just take all of them. Take as many as you want and give us Giannis and put Giannis in Brooklyn. I think it makes sense because I think Milwaukee needs to get out of this Dame Giannis thing. I just think they have to trade Dame and trade Giannis and just they won the title, get out of this. And to me, it's either Brooklyn or Houston because Houston's the other team that they have picks and young players. It's just like if I'm Giannis, would I rather go to Brooklyn or Houston? I don't know. So anyway, is it crazy to think Brooklyn could trade for Giannis?
No, why not? Well, could you go over their picks they have one more time? I wasn't. No, but
I
listen,
just wanted to make the point how many picks they had.
How about this though? Here's the only way I could be helpful. I'm looking at the Nets to make the playoffs, 22-1.
So this is why I brought this up because to me it's conceivable that out of nowhere it would be like, oh my God, Brooklyn traded 9 first-round picks, Ben Simmons' contract, and 2 swaps for it. This is the most picks anyone's ever given up for a player in the history of the NBA. But then you look at Brooklyn. So regular season wins right now, their over is 21.5. You look to make the playoffs. Yes, is 22-1.
Yeah, that's the bet. Yeah.
To win in the conference. They don't have it for the East right now. But the point is, like, if you think Giannis is going to get traded, play them, play Houston. I don't think Golden State has enough because Milwaukee's going to want to picks. And I think it's Houston or Brooklyn are the 2 teams that have all the picks.
So if they had odds for where Giannis is traded to, I haven't seen them. If they do, I don't think they do. They wouldn't be 22-1 for the Nets, right?
They would not.
So this would be the bet. Like they would be like 6-1 for the Nets or something.
Like Houston's minus 128. Houston has Houston made that trade. They have Brooklyn's 2026 first. They can swap Brooklyn in 27. They have a Phoenix first in 27. They own all their own picks. They have a Phoenix or Dallas first 29. Like they have enough to put a Giannis thing together with some contracts, give them a young player. The problem is they gave extensions to Green and Şengün. So I don't think those guys can be in the trade, but they could patch stuff together. But I think those are the two teams. I think that I don't think Miami has enough. Miami would have to put Adebayo in it. And if you're Miami, you're trading Adebayo and all of these picks to basically put Giannis on the same kind of team he's on now.
Right.
If you're Brooklyn, you have all these role players you can put with them. Then you have the cap space maybe to get some other guys. You have shooting. You have, I don't know. Anyway, I just wanted to put that.
My wife was saying all the same things today. Yeah. Let me ask you this. Giannis, if I would have told you second week in November, Giannis is 25-1 to win MVP and he's not injured, what would you have thought happened? Like, what the hell would you?
I would have thought he got hurt.
Yeah, but I'm telling you, he's not injured. Like this is, I guess you would just they'd have no wins, I guess is what you would have to think.
Well, the
25-1, he'll never be 25-1 again.
No. But let's say he got traded to Houston and they became like a 4 seed.
Yeah.
You know, those are the only two teams I can see.
All right, I'm going to bet
through everybody else.
I'm going to bet these.
If you go through all the other teams, I just don't see another team because some people have thrown Golden State around and I don't see how they could do a trade that could compete with Brooklyn. If I'm Brooklyn, I need to do whatever I can to get Giannis because I'm completely irrelevant.
But how much is this you drumming this up it's a very big favorite that they hold.
This up because I went to the game Friday and I was really impressed by the team they had.
No, but would they trade? They're likely not going to trade him. Like, what's the odds that they even trade him?
If like, let's say they made me a consultant to the franchise and they're like, what do we do? I would like trade Giannis and Dame right now.
Yeah.
Like you have no chance to win a title with this team. Trade these guys now. You got the title from Giannis. You have no picks left. You have no path to ever be a title contender with the group you have now. Right. Like cut the cord now. Try to trade for one of these teams before these picks go away to somebody else. Because the only other team is Oklahoma City, and they're not going to do anything.
All right. I'll do 22-1. I mean, it has to make sense that I lost the last 7 minutes of my life. I have to do 22-1 here. I like it.
Listen, this will be a YouTube clip that gets at least 80,000 views. Cerruti's so excited. Cerruti sending text. Cerruti, come in for a second. Are you there?
Oh, no. I love Cerruti. What's he doing?
Cerruti? Is he there? He might be asleep. Cerruti's here. Brooklyn or Houston? Is there anyone else?
Oh, that's the other thing.
Why does he want to stay in Milwaukee?
Wow.
New York City.
Is it though? Yeah, technically, yes.
I know. Wow, he's right too.
No state taxes.
Houston's great. Yeah, I mean they have the assets. Like I mean that'd be a great spot for him. But I don't know why anyone would want to go to Brooklyn.
Damn it, Rudy.
Golden State would be the other one but I just don't know what the trade is with that. Because they don't have the same kind of picks. Kuminga, it's not even close to what the other teams could give. All right.
So it'd have to be like, I want to be there, right? It'd have to be, hey, just trade me here. Like, but what he just signed a contract essentially. What levers does he have? I don't know.
I was thinking like, what if it was Anthony Davis and all the rest of the Laker picks?
Oh, wow.
Man.
What would they trade have to look like? But it was like
plus
this
Bronny.
door I didn't even want to open. It's like the door in the attic that you don't want to open because there's some ghost that's going to.
Does LeBron agree to it if they want Bronny? If Milwaukee says we're only doing it if you throw Bronny in there.
Bronny has to be in the.
Yes.
How about Bronny has to be in the trade to make the salaries work?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. Those are the only ones. You go through all the teams. It's really hard. All right. Thanks, Cerruti. Thanks for throwing more water on my Brooklyn idea.
Sorry.
Let's do some parent corner. What do you got?
Let's do it. What do I have here? Oh, all right. So, well, first of all, like, you know, there's a lot of traveling in these tournaments and we have friends in town. So I told my wife, I'm like, I can't go wherever the tournament is. It's in Santa Barbara, which is not close, right? So that's an overnight thing. My wife goes with my son. It's a baseball tournament. It's 2 days. They leave like Friday right after school. First of all, the school thing is crazy. They had teacher conferences all week, so they're out at noon every day, 5 days in a row, out at noon, off Monday for Vets Day tomorrow. And okay, so anyway, they go on this thing. You're not gonna have a problem with this, but I promise it's relatable. I see on the parent text chain that my wife paid for the dinner last night, and it's like, hey, there's no way to tell how much everybody paid, so you could Venmo me here, and there wasn't a lot of oh, thank you so much. Yes, I will Venmo you right away. And I'm looking at this bill right when I have a ton on the Chiefs money line, and it looks like they're about to fucking blow it. And I'm like, no, it's like the worst news I saw on my phone in months. I'm
Well,
like,
you had the
I'm
Chiefs
getting,
tied to a whole bunch of games yesterday, right?
oh yeah, exactly. I had a lot from Saturday coming over. And I'm like, shit, I'm gonna get 30% of the money back. But anyway, that's no big deal. Whatever that ends up being, fine. My kid goes, they win, they come in second place. And there's a picture of the team with their second place rings, and everybody's fun. It was happy. It was like 5 or 6 games, and they during the weekend, and they had their rings. And I'm scanning the picture, and there's my kid with his sourpuss face, not even showing his ring, purposely putting his hand behind his back because he's not okay with coming in second place. And I was like, and then so he just came home before the podcast. They just made it home. I was like, dude, look at this. You look ridiculous here. This kid's laying on the dirt, like celebrating, waving, showing their rings. He's like, I don't like it. I don't even like the ring. I'm not even gonna display it. And it's like, it's like a kind of like a nice ring for a kid. I was like, you're a Cowboys fan and a Mets fan. Like you have to
Right.
be used to losing by now.
Second
This
place
is
is
crazy.
great.
Yes, exactly. Look at how the country is reacting to second place.
Yeah.
You should love it. So I don't know if I should push this more or where should I be? This is a delicate balance, right? You don't want to
I
lose.
love it. He's a championship kid. He just
Really?
wants titles. That's it. Yeah.
Like
He's all
8%
about
of his
he's all about
team.
the titles.
It's just him. All right. That's it.
He doesn't like this trophy generation we live in. He wants real titles. He
You
doesn't
know
want
what?
to pat him back for finishing second.
I do respect it, but I'm going to take that ring and sell it and try to get some of that dinner money back from last night. And my wife will never recoup.
You don't think she's gonna be circling back a week from now? Like,
No,
hey,
no,
just heads up.
no fucking way.
Some of you
No,
still owe me for dinner on Saturday.
no, because they'll be like, well, Margaret owes me, but then I had a drink with her the other day. So it all evens out. It's all going to even out somehow, except there's going to be no money coming our way. I do love the parents, though. I do. I have to say that most of them listen to this podcast, but it just the timing of it with the Chiefs and the field goal, it wasn't ideal.
So I went back to Boston because my daughter plays soccer for Emerson, and she was hurt last year, which we talked about on the pod, and she had a hamstring and then a knee thing, and the knee thing didn't go away. And by February, it still wasn't going away. So we started going to doctors to see what was going wrong. I didn't talk about this, but I had these different opinions from people thinking what it was. One of the doctors thought she might have like a partially torn ACL. And we were like, oh my God, like you get surgery out for a year. Another one was like, no, it's just banged up. You got to rehab the muscles around it. It's going to heal. It's you have a really bad bruise. Basically, every doctor said something different. So we decided, all right, just rehab your legs, put real time in it, try to build everything up around, get in really good shape and see if you can come back. So she really was committed to it the whole spring, the whole summer. She didn't play spring soccer. She didn't even really start practicing until August and just tried to work on her legs getting back. And they put her on a minute schedule. She raises up. And we get to beginning of October, start league play. She scores in the first game. 2 days later, somebody bangs her in the knee. She's a bruised knee, like what Paul George had. So now she's like limping around and we're just like, and she's like, I'm so tired of being injured. This sucks. And I'm thinking like, this really might be it. Like I could see her, like she's just so tired of being hurt. And so she was still playing, but not as much. And she was like 80, 90%, but not 100. And then the last week or so, she felt good again. And so they gave her more minutes. So they were in the league playoffs, and she played a lot of minutes in the Tuesday game, and they won, and she scored. So they had a round 2 game. So I was like, I'm fucking flying back. I was like,
Yeah.
I'm going back. That's it. So flew back. They had this game, which they lost 1-0. It was like your classic soccer game that they had most of the chances and whatever. But she played like 78 minutes and she looked like her. It was the first time she really looked
great.
This last week where she's flying around. And I was just thinking like, I was like, I thought it was going to be over, and now we got 2 years left, hopefully, and hopefully she could stay healthy. But I was thinking like with the stuff you talk about with your son, when you go through all these little steps with them, from like AYSO in the beginning to when they're on club team, and you kind of don't know when the journey's going to end. And it was just really cool to watch her flying around 100%. I was like, I didn't know if I was going to see it again.
That's great.
So now she's got 2 years left. She's going to hopefully keep the legs going, and you got to keep your fingers crossed you never get hurt. But we were talking about after, I was like, you have 2 years left and then that's it. Especially like people who play D3, a lot of them are doing it because they're not getting paid to play for the school. It's not like when you get a scholarship in D1, but you really, the people that stick with it, like really love it. And she really loves it. So
that's awesome. There are pro leagues though. What do you mean?
No, there
doesn't
are,
have
but
to be over.
But you see, as your kids get older and you see all the teammates they had, and people start dropping out, right? And they drop out for different reasons. They get hurt. They don't want to keep the commitment to it. And at some point, people hit some sort of thing where they're like, do I really love doing this and having a part of my life, or I don't? And that's when they kind of go sideways with it. And it might happen when they're 15, 16, maybe they get a boyfriend, like,
right.
And then some people stick with it. So she still really loves it. But it was super cool watching her fly around.
That's great.
Because it was like, I was thinking like, I've been watching her play soccer since I was, since 2009, 2008, whatever. But it was cool. I was glad I flew back. We got to hang out, went to the Celtic game on Friday. Good times.
Well, listen, I'm proud of her for scoring a goal. I have a second place ring if she'd like. It might be a little small, but if I could ship it to her there, Emerson. But no, it's fun, and enjoy the next 2 years. But it gets me mad that why are there 4 opinions on this knee? Like if you had had surgery, that you would have been robbed of that. It's 2024.
Well, and who knows if we even made the right decision or not? I'm sure we're going to look at it again, but it's the body's like a crazy thing. You have these different people look at it, and it's not like they're right or wrong. They see what they see, right? And they judge it a certain way. But sometimes you start wondering, is somebody snake bit? You're like, God damn, how do you bang the same knee right after it was finally healthy again?
Right. Good for her. That's exciting.
She loves it. It was fun. And it was, I think next year's team will be good. So it was a good experience.
Nice. That's good.
That's good. I'm trying to think. I have one more parent corner thing for you I wanted to mention. No, I can't. See, I can't do any of the Ben Simmons ones. Can we do like a Patreon where it's just like it's a subscription one?
Well, I don't know. If the subscription, if it's worth, we'll pay for your medical expenses. I guess so. Yeah.
I just really wish I could do the Ben Simmons ones.
If you asked him ahead of time and said, can I talk about this? He would absolutely say no.
We should probably be recording them, and then 10 years from now I can run some of them.
Oh,
it's like 27. Seems like it would be the way to go.
Definitely.
All right, that's it for Parent Corner. What else do you have? Anything?
That's it. Through the ringer with Tate against all odds a couple times this week. We did the Ringer pregame show. I'm 8-2 with my wisest wagers. That Texans, I was going to be so mad if the Texans plus 3.5 didn't cover. And Roy Jones Jr. on Cousin Sal's winning weekend. We're going to talk about the Tyson fight. A lot of people now like Tyson.
What are the odds on the Tyson fight?
It's plus 230. It was plus 250. It's tightening up, and I bet it's even tighter than that come like Friday. I don't know.
You seem bummed out about the Tyson's fight. It's everything you like and everything you don't like all wrapped into one sporting event.
What's the most likely scenario? He just gets jabbed to death. They give Paul the decision because he's the more marketable fighter, and Tyson doesn't care. Is that probably the most right? He wins by decision.
Tyson's so old. I just don't understand how he would win a fight against anybody.
Yeah. I watched Paul against Fury again. You
Yeah.
know, the Tyson Fury's brother, who was the only real boxer.
Yeah.
He was good. He's decent. He was decent against me.
he
He
is.
lost, but he was decent. You know, we're betting Tyson. Who are we kidding?
Yeah, we're definitely betting Tyson. We were watching that fight together too, I think.
Yep. Hell yeah.
All right, Cuss. Good job by you as always.
Good job by you, buddy.
Thanks everybody who watched on the YouTube feed. Don't forget you can listen to this on the podcast as well. It's produced by Kyle Crane and Steve Cerruti. I will see you on Tuesday on my podcast. Monday, Rewatchables. We did Meet the Parents. That's coming on Monday night. You like that movie?
I do love it.
It's a good one. Yeah. It's really kind of timeless. It's aged really, really, really nicely. So
it drives me crazy. It's so hard for him to tell his side of the story when he just keeps fucking up. But he's not really.
Well, that's what we talked about. It's like that Three's Company kind of model of how to do comedies. And
that's exactly
that
right.
generation. Anyway. All right. So see you next week.
See you, bud.